Sometimes, the moments that change us forever don't arrive with warning signs. They show up quietly, in the middle of an ordinary night, disguised as inconvenience, or even a drunken stranger collapsing on the pavement. And sometimes, the person who needs kindness the most is the one everyone assumes already has everything. This is the story of a man who had wealth, power, and status, but not a single hand willing to hold his when he was at his lowest. Until one unexpected person did something that changed his life. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment below. Your support helps us grow this community of kindness. And don't forget to follow the channel, Kindness Tales, for more stories that touch the heart and remind us what humanity truly means. It happened on a chilly Friday night in downtown Chicago. Winter winds cut through the streets like invisible blades, and the only warmth came from the yellow glow spilling out of restaurants still wrapping up their closing shifts. Inside one of those restaurants, a young waitress named Emily was tying her apron and getting ready to head home after a long shift. Her feet ached, her back hurt, and she couldn't wait to curl up under a blanket at home. Emily was 27, hard-working, soft-spoken, and the kind of person who apologized even when someone else bumped into her. She worked double shifts almost every week, saving money to take care of her younger brother, who had been diagnosed with a learning disability. She didn't complain. She didn't expect much from life. She just kept going. As she stepped out into the cold, locking the restaurant door behind her, she noticed a man slumped on the sidewalk near the curb. At first, she assumed he was just resting, maybe waiting for a rideshare. But when she got closer, she saw him struggling to keep his balance, his expensive suit wrinkled and his eyes unfocused. His cheeks were flushed red from alcohol and the cold. He looked up at her, squinting as if trying to recognize her. "Please, don't go," he mumbled. "I'm cold." Emily froze. She didn't recognize him personally, but she knew who he was. His face had been on magazine covers, business news, and billboards downtown. Liam Hartman, the CEO of Hartman Innovations, one of the biggest tech companies in the country. A billionaire. A man everyone admired publicly but whispered about privately. And here he was, sitting on the dirty pavement, shivering like a lost child. She glanced around, hoping maybe a driver or bodyguard would appear. But the street was empty except for a few cars passing by. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked gently. Liam tried to stand but stumbled forward. Emily rushed to help him, grabbing his arm to steady him. The moment she touched him, he exhaled like someone who had been holding his breath for hours. "Don't leave me," he whispered, voice trembling. "Everyone left already." Emily could have walked away. She could have told herself this wasn't her problem. But something in his voice, something fragile and deeply human, stopped her. She saw past the power, the wealth, the polished reputation. She saw a lonely, hurting man who had no one to call in his darkest moment. "Come on," she said softly. "Let's get you somewhere warm." He leaned on her as she guided him to the small bench outside the restaurant. His hands were shaking, not just from the cold but from something deeper, something like fear. Emily wrapped her scarf around his shoulders without thinking twice. "You're freezing," she said. "You need to warm up." He looked at her with glassy eyes, confused and almost ashamed. Why are you helping me?" he asked. "Because you need help," she replied simply. He let out a shaky laugh. "People help me because they fear me, or want something from me. No one helps me just because." "Well," she said softly, "tonight someone is." For a few minutes, they sat quietly while Liam slowly collected himself. He told her, in a voice that cracked more than once, that earlier that day he had lost a major partnership, had fought with his board, and had been told by his ex-fiancée that she was marrying someone else. The pressure, the loneliness, the exhaustion, it had all crashed down at once, leading him to drink far more than he should have. "I thought I had everything," he said, "but I think I actually have nothing." Emily listened without judgment. She knew what it felt like to carry weight alone. Her life wasn't easy either, but she had something he didn't: people who loved her, people who cared. And she realized, in that moment, that the man who seemed the strongest was actually the most fragile. "Everyone has something," she said gently. "Maybe you just forgot to see yours." She called a rideshare for him, helped him stand, and even stayed with him until the car arrived. Before he got in, he looked at her with a seriousness that cut through his drunken haze. "You saved me tonight," he said. "You have no idea." She smiled, tucking her hair behind her ear. "Just get home safe." Emily didn't think much about it afterward. She went home, slept, and returned to work the next day. But the moment she walked into the restaurant, she froze. The CEO, the same man from last night, was sitting at one of the tables, fully sober, dressed in another expensive suit. When he saw her, he stood up. "Emily," he said softly. "I came to thank you, properly this time." She felt embarrassed, unsure what to say. But he continued. "What you did for me, no one in my world would have done that. People don't slow down for someone like me. They assume wealth is insulation against pain. But you didn't assume. You cared." He handed her a letter. Inside was a handwritten note and a scholarship fund approval for her younger brother, full tuition, therapies, transportation, everything covered. Emily gasped, tears filling her eyes. "I didn't help you for this," she whispered. "I know," he said. "That's exactly why I wanted to do it." In that moment, two very different worlds, one humble, one powerful, connected through something simple yet profound: kindness. Sometimes, it isn't the grand gestures or the big achievements that shape a person. Sometimes, it's a scarf wrapped around cold shoulders, a stranger who refuses to walk away, a reminder that compassion hasn't disappeared from the world. Liam Hartman found something that night, something more valuable than every deal he ever closed. And Emily discovered that even the smallest act of kindness can echo far beyond the moment. And maybe that's the truth we all forget sometimes: the world changes when one person chooses to care. So the next time you see someone struggling, don't rush past. Don't assume they're fine. Be the warmth someone is quietly pleading for. You never know whose life you might save with a single act of kindness.